time I talk my shit from your favorite douchebag bro vet. The world's gone mad and I think it's kinda comical. They'll cancel you for calling a woman biological. Maybe I'ma just to do something bold, like cut my dick off and win Olympic gold. Welcome to the world where the worst is up in view.
Thank you for coming on. I have Casey Katz. Is that stage name?
That's my first and half of my last name. So my real name is Casey Castille.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put Casey Cass as like a name, really, you know?
So, what brought you here? Because so you are. What is the proper term for it? Should I say exotic dancer or?
You could say entertainer,
Yeah.
dancer. Dude, I can't even think of other ones that would be suitable. But
Is stripper like? Is that a derogatory term?
I think there's different forms of each one.
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm an entertainer because that's what I do. Strippers are more of like, that's what they do. They take their clothes off.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't just do that. There's so much more to it than just that.
Yeah.
People that don't go to the clubs probably don't realize that. But if they did, they would see that there's different forms of each name for them.
Absolutely. No, I get that. So kind of tell us about yourself. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What brought you here? And then, of course, obviously, the line of work that you're in, it's unique, so, to say the least.
Super fun. It's fun for me. There's a lot of girls that get into it for obvious other reasons. But I come from Louisiana. I was born and raised there my whole life. The reason I came out to Panama City is because I saw a Facebook status back in the day that they needed some spring break party promoters for all the events they have for all the, I'm going to say kids because they're kids to me. So what I would do is for like from 2014 to 2017, I would come seasonally, like 6 weeks at a time, to sell these party passes called the Panamaniac cards for all of them to get into the foam parties, the paint parties, all these.
What year?
2014 to 2017.
So, okay. So I'm trying to remember when the alcohol ban on the beach passed.
It was probably 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, they would house us. I would come in. We would work all day, all night, selling these passes. We'd go up and down the beach. We'd have our designated areas where we'd go and be like, hey, y'all know we have these parties tonight. All y'all are here for the whole week. Instead of paying a huge cover at the door, we have it for a discounted price. So some of them would not have their money on the beach to buy it, so we'd have to go and deliver it to their hotels and whatnot. That's why I came. And then in 2018, I got asked to go work the program in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I went over there. I loved it there. I moved there for a year. And then I was coming back to Louisiana for Christmas. Driving back to Myrtle, I was like, I don't want to be back in Myrtle. And then they said, it was after Hurricane Michael in December. They were like, come back to where you're in Panama City because the club is a gold mine right now because of all the workers that were there. So I came back to Panama City in 2018 and I never left.
So you're keeping all of our workers that were here for Hurricane Michael entertained. Okay.
That sounds so fun.
Obviously, that business is. So I grew up 2 blocks from the toy box, and then which means I was only like 4 blocks from the Gold Nugget. And I remember growing up as a kid, my parents, would drive by both of these places. And of course, then you also had Tan Fanny's that was down in St. Andrews. And so my parents, I grew up in a very religious, conservative household. And very, very against strip. I mean, my family was against like drinking. I mean, if someone had a beer, it was frowned upon. So, I mean, you can only imagine what the mindset was like towards gentlemen's clubs. So I've never really darkened the door of one of those places ever, until like once I cleaned carpet in there. But then how we met, which we'll get into that.
Only one time.
yeah, only one time, and it was literally because of the ordinance that was being passed. Kendall and I were at the Salty Goat. We were having dinner, and we had talked to Alex Napier, which is a local musician, and we were sitting there scrolling through our phones, looking at different ordinances that had been passed in the area, and one of them had to do with local, call them SOBs, which is I think it's sexual something business or sexual oriented business that no longer can operate within basically the city limits. And so we got to talking while we were having dinner, and I was just like, dude, like, I'm kind of against this because I think that, you have the right to do business. Like, that whole aspect of the community being like, we don't want this here, blah, blah. Like, and it's normally, and listen, I know religion kind of plays, we're on the Bible Belt. So, I mean, there's people, but here's the thing. If you don't want to give them your business, then don't go there. Then don't go spend money there. Then don't, but the thing about it is, I think a lot of, and we'll get into this because I actually have quite a few questions about like the details on what it's like to have a job like that, because if so many people are screaming that they don't want it there, and normally it's a flock of like middle-aged women that are like I just feel like if you're a husband and you're going to a strip club, it's probably because you're not getting the attention that you need from home. That's how I used to look at it until I went and with him, and now I'm like, it's kind of like just like a hangout, and I mean, you can make it more than just hanging out if you want, but like what I saw when I went, I still don't see the appeal. I think that it is, in my opinion, it's irresponsible spending more than anything. But
I love it.
but also the lust aspect and all of that. But I mean, I don't think that the government should dictate whether or not you can have a business like that or not. But yeah, so that's how we met, because I went up there, and it was kind of funny because I paid, or wait, Kendall got me the dance, and then the only thing we did was talk about coming on the podcast the entire time.
I love those dances.
You're like, all right, yeah, I'll come on the podcast and talk about whatever, and I'm like, that's the only reason why I'm here. So, which is kind of funny because I know a couple of my viewers will probably be like, Ron goes to strip clubs, and it's like, yeah, I went there to go get somebody to interview.
Literally that, and that was so cool.
But anyway,
I finally got a call.
You huge on TikTok. How many followers do you have?
Probably like 900,000 right now, but it's going down actually.
Really?
I had over 1 million, and people just unfollow sometimes, or bots get taken away, or not sure. I think only reason that I might have gotten big on there is because I was one of the first people to showcase that lifestyle. And that was when no one was on there.
Yeah.
And now it's so oversaturated that like my content's not getting watched that much anymore.
Well, the content that you have, you would think that and a dancer, entertainer would be all about showing off whatever it is that they do, and yours isn't all that either. You have the business aspect side of it on there, which we were finding was just insane, because you went over like how you work the floor, how the business works. Like, kind of run us through, what is it like to work at a club?
This is all in my experience. I work at a really good club. Other clubs are not as fun as my club. I've worked in over 30 clubs, and the Gold Nugget is one of my favorites. But so what I do, most girls, well, maybe a lot of girls don't do this, but I literally, it's like you just have to split your time in like all these different little not halves, but like little like fractions or something, you know? So like you have to wonder if this guy's going to spin or this guy, and you have to be very patient. You have to like make them see the value and open in their wallets to spend the money, especially in this economy. A lot of people will say, it doesn't take any talent to dance on a pole, and it doesn't take any talent to do any of this. But you have to understand, like, The pole work and stage is like 25% of it. Most of it is talking to these guys and making them feel welcome and wanting to spend money on you. So I'll give you an example. I have a regular that comes in to see me. He drives an hour and a half to come see me from Alabama. He wants me to spend all my time with him. That night, he does take very good care of me. And he does get jealous when I go to other people. But I have to remind him, look, this is what I'm here for, you know? So let's say he's in the club and he wants me to stay with him. Okay, cool. But I noticed there's a guy that I know that's going to make it rain on all my stage sets as long as I make him feel comfortable enough and give him a little bit of attention, you know? So I find out when I'm about to go on stage, I tell my regular, look, I'm going to go do this because I'm very honest with what I do. I'm going to go, that's what he does. And so I go do that. But then if I see two guys that kind of I have a lot of discernment. I can kind of read people really well. And so I'm never going to ignore them when I'm passing back by them. I'm going to at least say hi and see if I can spark some kind of interest. Tell my regular, look, I got to do this. And if he wants to wait on me, fine. But I'm willing to risk it. If he wants to go or leave or something, I'd rather see what else is out there. And it's just it's every night is so different. But it's kind of like the same too. But, you know, some girls, they'll either do really well or really not well, and then they won't come back because they're like, oh, I did so well last night, or I didn't do well last night, so I'm not going to come back, thinking that it's going to be the same kind of night, same kind of clientele, and it's not. It's literally different every night. It can hit at any moment. It only takes one person to make your whole night, and I think that's why I'm so addicted. And I can't get out of it because it's like a true game to me. And it's fun. A lot of girls will be like, if they see this, they will be like, it's not like that for me. You know, it's a lot, it's hard work and it's this and that. I get that. But for me and my personality, and I've read my birth chart and like everything in my birth, it's meant for me. And that's what I like doing.
Yeah.
And I like seeing, you know, I feel like they say it's a lot of competition in the club. I don't feel like I'm in competition with anybody except who I was the last time I came in. You know, you just want to try to do better than you did the last time.
Yeah. So one of the TikTok videos that you'd come out with, you explained like the floor, like how, kind of like what you were just saying, like if I see guys that are closer to the door, then I'll go over there and try to entice them to come in. And then you were talking about whether or not you were doing like a stage setup, and then so like there's all these different areas of like a club that you're going to sit there and you're going to work all these different areas to make sure that you're being, I guess, like more diverse,
Productive.
more productive. So what, just by chance, what do you think the average dancer in Bay County, this area, makes yearly? Got you.
But
I understand what you're
someone
saying.
like me, I'm very disciplined and I like to make a certain amount a week.
Yeah.
And so like in the beginning of the year, you know, like this year started on a Wednesday. So that's the day my week starts. That's the day my week starts, you know. So if I do well Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I make my goal for the week. I might not come in. Or maybe I will, you know, it depends on what I have going on, which I don't have much going on because I don't have kids or a relationship or anything like that. But other girls, you know, they come and go. So it all depends on how much you're working. And if you go in the club and sit in the corner all night and not talk to everybody you can, you probably won't do that well, you know?
Yeah, because so do you get that a lot, like where newcomers will come in and they'll just be like, I'm just gonna come in here and base it all on my looks and dress up a certain way, and then
And
just
think,
expect that the money's gonna come to you, type thing. And you're saying, well, you actually have to go out, you have to talk, and you have to be presentable. 'Cause I think that's an aspect that a lot of people don't think about. We laugh. We've seen these TikToks. I can't remember the couple. They've got a TikTok and a Facebook, but they make these funny videos. But it was kind of funny. One of the videos that came across was like a guy, and he's like in a car, and he's driving up, and there's a, I guess you would call it a prostitute, and he pulls up to this woman, and he's like, "Hey, how much to let me win an argument?
Oh, I
And
saw
then,
that.
yeah. And she says, $50. And he hands her the money. And then,
How
he
much
goes
extra
through,
for this?
how much extra for you to get in the car? And we'll drive around the block and you not tell me how to drive. Like, and so it's like, but I think, would you say that most of your clientele are guys that go in there that just, they're not getting the attention that they need, maybe at home or anything like that?
No, because we have a lot of couples that come in. So
Couples?
A lot of couples.
Like couples.
Like boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband.
What?
Couples. I danced on a couple last night at work. Obviously at work. But I feel like people come in to get an escape from reality. And it's just, it is what it is. Some people see it as literally just that. Some guys will come in and expect us to want to see them outside the club. And it's like, you have a way better chance going to a regular bar and picking a girl up there than going to a club and trying to get a dancer. Because none of us, especially at our club, we don't get off till 4 a.m.
Well, that's what I laugh about, because even when I was in the Army, like, there were guys that would come in for being in the strip club. I'll be like, man, Candy is like, she's great. And I text her back and forth and blah, blah. I'm going to go see her tonight. And I'm like, she's just texting you because she wants you to come and spend money, dude.
And not saying it's not possible to date a dancer, right? Like, you can. It's very few and far between, but it is possible. But most of the time, those girls, we just want to go home and take a bath in Epsom salt and relax and, do self-care, because we have to do the same thing the next day.
Does it play any type of emotional, like, mental stress doing it? How do you separate it?
Again, this is just in my experience. A lot of girls, they have their own stuff going on. But for me, I've been dancing for almost 13 years. Like straight. And so I just see it as like, okay, I'm going to work, if a guy is ridiculous to me, then I'll just I can tune it out. Like, I have such like a out of sight, out of mind situation going on in my mind, I guess. Or maybe I just gotten used to things. But if someone blatantly disrespects me, I get them kicked out. Where I work, the bouncers are so quick to take our side and get them gone. So that's very
like,
good.
because you get those dudes that are like,
and women are bad too.
Really? But like, you get them where they're so into you and they really think that there's like a connection that's there. Like, do you have those things happen where
I
it's
deserve an Oscar with how well I can make a guy think that I like them?
Yeah.
Because I don't need to be at the club. I actually want to be there. I could not work for a good minute with what I have saved, but I want to be there. So I'm not trying to make money the entire night. I let it come to me. So I'm not stressed being like, okay, I need to make money to pay my rent or make bills. So I'll sit there with a customer and get them to, I love people. So it's easy for me to make a connection. And maybe it's the Libra side of me. We're the charming side.
So how many times though do you have guys that'll come in and they think that they have this attachment with you, and then you have to have them removed from a club because they're just being overly...
Never removed, never like that.
Really?
More the people that I get removed are ones that which has not happened lately, the ones that will just grab you when you're walking by.
Ooh.
That doesn't really happen. That happened like one time at that club. But other clubs, they go way further. That's why I don't work at those clubs. I can't deal with crazy stuff like that. But I feel like guys, they want to get my number and blah blah blah. And if I give them my number and they text too much, the block button is so easy to press.
Yeah.
And just like last week, I hung out with one guy all night on Monday. There was no one else in there. He was treating me well. Gave him my number because I thought he'd be a repeat customer.
Yeah.
He blew up my phone whenever I got home, and I'm like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
And so my friend's like, well, aren't you nervous that he's going to come back the next day? And I was like, well, if he comes back, I'm in a safe space, where bouncers can whatever. And I will just explain to him, I only work in the club. If you text me outside the club, that's off. I'm off. Like, I'm not, I gave you my number to possibly get you to come back, not to date you and not to go out with you.
Yeah.
I liked you in the club, but I'm not going to like you in my personal life. Two different personas, okay?
Yeah, that's got to be hard to like, But it's never been hard for you to turn it on and off?
No, even in dances, guys will say, "Oh, this doesn't turn you on. You must be so turned on." And it's like, I'm trying to figure out who I'm supposed to go talk to next,
Oh,
or who I gotta like, who I'm
like,
going.
honey,
Like,
you're not on my mind.
I literally will forget who I dance on at the end of the night.
Ah,
Sometimes, you
well, that's good
know.
if you're able to make that kind of like that disconnection. But speaking of that, I mean, there's more skills that go into this. Again, I just had somebody on recently, and I told them, I was like, "Yeah, I'm having this girl on. She works at the Nugget. She's coming in," and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I showed them a video, and I think I even said it that night to you. It was like, seeing girls dance on a pole just isn't attractive to me. But I've seen some of these videos. It's this acrobatic shit that you do where you're like upside down. Like I was watching a video. I think it was when you came out with it, and you're like up. It looked like you were practicing. It was like a class or
For a
something like that.
showcase.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. And then you were like upside down, and you had like your leg, and I was like, no, 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 no. If you fall, you're gonna break your neck. You're gonna die. Like, I
My
was
mom's
just-
worst fear.
yeah. Like, and it was just like, I, like that. It's almost for me. It's almost like going to a Cirque du Soleil show. 'Cause
And that's
it's-
why I say it's different, as you know, there's different words for what we do: entertainer, stripper, you know. So
Yeah.
in that case, that's not a stripper, that's an entertainer,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people will sit there and they'll say, "Oh, you go to a strip club and then you see these girls get up on stage and they dance and they do these types of things, and then it's like, oh, going there is like such a." But then you'll go and like literally you'll go and watch a Cirque du Soleil show, and women are half naked doing the things that they do there to do like the what do they call it, like the aerial
Mhm.
sheet. They're wrapped around a sheet and they like go around the area, and it's like. People, you can see the elegance in this because the music is different and there's no alcohol here and there's no guys throwing $1 bills. But other than that, it's the same fucking thing. It
Just
really
like a burlesque
is.
show or whatnot.
Which I've never been to one of those. He's actually the burlesque guy. He will watch. He's been to a couple of those types of things. So, again, would I ever go to a strip club again? I don't know. The only reason why I went was so I could get somebody on the podcast. Because I'm trying to pull everybody from everything.
Mhm.
Whether or not anybody wants to agree with it or not, strip clubs are part of your community. They just are. And I don't think it's right to demonize the people that work or own those places. And not all of them are.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
150%. But like I said, you get down to the business aspect of it. And I know that right now there's the ordinance. I mean, the ordinance was passed a long time ago for the city of Panama City to close down these strip clubs. I'm actually against it because, listen, I grew up, and again, I think I'm like the best person to talk about this because I grew up around the corner from 2 strip clubs. I believe, again, that whole thing that Kendall just said, not all are created equal. I feel like toy boxers really consumed a lot of drugs, a lot of like trafficking, that kind of stuff through there. And you know what? Maybe the Nugget is too. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's never affected, like the Gold Nugget being open has never affected me and my family, even when we lived over in that area. It never did. And if a guy wants to go in there and who the hell? It's almost kind of like, who the hell does the government think that they are, trying to tell you how you can make money as long as it's under the umbrella of the law? And then it's like you're trying to prevent the inevitable. If a guy wants to go and spend money on the attention from a woman, he's going to anyway. I mean, look at OnlyFans.
right. Online content.
Which, like, OnlyFans and stuff like that, has that hurt the business at all?
I definitely think so. The clubs are way less busy these days because they can access it online for
Cheaper.
and
Yeah.
just there's so many content creators that are online. I personally don't, because I mean, do you and all that, but like I like people to access me when I give them access, not
Yeah.
when I'm not there, you know? But yeah, I think a lot of men, I mean, you still have those percent of men that want to come in and spend that in real life
Yeah.
time, but I think it's definitely hurt the clubs with how accessible that is to
And
get.
that's another thing that's extremely funny, right? Like, we live on the Panhandle. You can go down to the beach right now and go sit out there on the sand and watch women walk by that are wearing things that are more provocative than what I saw that night that was in
Yeah,
the
we're a really calm club,
and it was
actually.
like, I'm thinking, it's like, dude, I can go to the beach and see something that's worse than this. I don't understand. I don't understand both aspects. I don't understand the group that sits there and says they want to take this out of the community. And then I don't understand the aspect of people that like push for it. It's kind of funny because I'm like, dude, you go to the beach. There you go. You got everything you needed.
Yeah.
You can't touch the women that are in the club anyway. You can't touch the women that are on the beach. Boom, there you go. You're there. But then but then at the same time, that's a perverted comment to make because then you kind of want. I know this is a crazy conversation, but I feel like when you want to suppress it in one area, I would much rather a guy go to a strip club and check out women and dancers that are there than going to the
For
beach
that.
and then checking out my
Yeah,
wife
because-
that's in a bikini.
Exactly, because the girls on the beach, they're not there for you to objectify them.
Exactly.
And they're not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, like girls that work in the club, they're there to get compensated for you to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just
Well, they did actually, Kendall, can you look this up real quick? Because this is an actual thing. Jim Jeffries talked about it in one of the stand-up comedy things. This is kind of off topic, but on topic a little bit. Prostitution. In a way, I'm not saying that stripping is prostitution at all. But what I am saying is I feel like it's kind of in the same realm where guys are paying for attention of a woman to give them, that attention that they want, right? And so they found out in like Australia, and Kendall, you can look this up, but it's Australia legalized prostitution, and the divorce rate of the country went down. And like, so it was like the divorce rates went down in Australia after they legalized prostitution.
and that's how porn was when they prohibited that. They say once porn was done with, like they couldn't access that, that's when rapes went up. Or that's when
All of these numbers, they're kind of, I think the argument can be made on both sides, right? Because it's like, oh, where do you get those numbers and where did they come from and all this. But there is some sort of thing that's there where it's like, and first of all, like men paying for women's attention has been something that's been going on for thousands of years. And there is some sort of, I guess there's some sort of appeal that's there to it. And I'm sure that gets deeper into like, what was it? With all of these different aspects of like the community, if you get rid of those things, and I'm not saying that, if you get rid of strip clubs, rape is going to go up and, all of this other stuff. But the thing about it is you're trying to take something out of the community where men aren't going to be men. And now you're saying couples aren't going to be couples.
it's so many couples, and it's just like it's just
So
a
how does
fun
that
place.
work, man? Like a couple will come in and they'll just be like, I want you to dance on both of us.
Oh, you just kind of pass by them, and if they eye you, I say hi to everybody. If I go in and I go past you, and they like turn around and real quick don't want to look at me, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well they not like me. But if they come up to the stage and tip you, you go say thank you. You give the woman a little bit of attention, and
Yeah.
just the women like it more than the men these days. I feel like if they're there with their husband
Do you think it's like an aspect of like letting loose and having fun?
and just hanging
I think it has
out,
something to
it
do with the aspect
is.
of doing something that you're not supposed to be doing because it's like frowned upon.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
it's good fun. Like people that don't go will never see it, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, the people that sit there and they demonize it and they talk about how like you should never go and enter the doors of like those types of places, which by the way, you have the right to not do that if you don't want to. But the thing about it is they're the same people that will watch a TV show or a movie where they'll do that incognito wink about like strip clubs and they'll sit there and laugh about how funny it is. So it's like, you can't have both, man. Like, I mean, either you're going to be on
Pick a side. They sin in other ways or whatnot.
So the social media aspect on it, do you think you get more customers through social media that'll actually come and visit you or?
I don't, because all the people that follow me, it's 5% women that follow me.
What?
No men follow me. And
You
if
have
they
every
do,
stripper in the United States following you.
I went to Huntsville, Alabama, and went to a club for the recent hurricane that we had. I evacuated, and I went to a club, and like 15 girls recognized me from my
Really?
Yes,
They worked there?
They work as dancers, and they would get their
Okay.
customers to come tip me. They're like, "Yeah, we love you on TikTok. Here you go." You know, and
Oh
I'm
my
just like,
God.
"That's so amazing." So, it's really nice to be liked online because a lot of people are really mean.
Yeah.
But it's way better also to be liked by women online too. Who cares about the men sometimes, you know? But yeah, a lot of dancers follow me, or people that want to be dancers.
So what is like the largest like problem that you have whenever you like work at a strip club? Like what is because earlier you were talking about percentages, about how the DJ takes a certain percentage, the club takes a percentage, the bartender takes a percentage. It's almost like being a waiter or a waitress or
Yeah,
a
you have to tip
hairdresser.
out.
You have to pay for your spot there to be able to even like entertain. And so like one of those things is so like when somebody comes in that's new, like is there like a quota that you have to hit?
Oh no. I mean, a quota within yourself if you're disciplined and you want to make your goal or whatnot. But I mean, some girls might leave in the negative because there's just nobody that comes in that night. And then our club is very cool with it. They'll be like, okay, well, you don't owe us the house,
So
or
when you say the negative though, like explain all the different.
okay, yeah. So whenever you go in and you're working and you work your 8 hours or however long, there's sometimes you don't get any dances. You don't get tipped at all on stage. Or if I don't have a good night,
But
and
you still have to pay even if you don't make money.
this club will allow you to be like, some days be like, oh, you didn't make it. Okay, you don't have to pay it. But me, I don't like owing anybody. So I hardly have these nights, but I will go to the ATM and get out money to have the money to pay. I'm not going to owe anybody. I don't like to do that. But like 2 Mondays ago, there was no one that went in, and there was 8 dancers. Like it was so slow. I left early, and I heard the next day that a lot of girls couldn't pay their house. But it's like, y'all work every night. Y'all should have something to pay, like, but I'm happy
Yeah.
that they didn't make them pay, which,
Yeah.
like they should just have a whole rule. Like no one came in,
Yeah.
but it's just,
So do you, because I'm going to get in kind of like these other territories of it. Because a lot of people have a lot to say about these establishments and how they have ties with drugs, human trafficking, those types of things. I mean, how much of that have you seen over the past 13 years?
I work at clubs where I don't see it. I don't know if it's because I turn a blind eye. I pretty much stay sober when I work. I
Yeah.
drink a couple of tequila shots, but once I get on stage, that's out of my system because I'm moving so much and doing a lot. So I never really get like that. I don't really see like in cities like Houston, they have a lot of P's. You know what I'm talking about when I say pimps
Oh,
for
okay.
girls, or guys that would be like, new girls will definitely maybe fall for it if they don't know. Guys will come in, not at my club. I don't see it, but I've seen it before in other
So they'll
clubs.
come in and like
They will
choose.
say, "Hey, look, I want you to come work for me. I have this party I'm going to next week. Come." And then the girl will get to the party and see it's really elaborate and really nice, and he just wants you to be one of his girls to go work for him. So
That's where like the percentage comes out where it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a guy and then I get a percentage
yes,
of whoever I
yes, which
hook
is
you up with.
that's why you just need to stay away from those guys if you're a dancer. Like I was lucky enough to learn that at a very, way back when. So I don't, but at our club, I don't see a lot of that. I don't see a lot of drugs at my club, which is nice. I know a girl that got fired a couple years ago because they check our bags whenever we walk in. So if you're doing drugs, they're going to catch that. There was a girl who brought in actual like bags of drugs and they caught it and she got fired. I don't want to work at that kind of, like I'm glad that she was gone.
Yeah.
But like if you have to do that, then why are you even there? It's just kind of annoying.
So they regulate it. are like self-regulate to make sure that you're not
It's
bringing
not
stuff in to
happening.
sell. You're not bringing stuff in to.
And not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm just lucky that I never really had to have that too.
But it does happen with the business. It just depends on like where it is.
Which is probably just true for like a lot of business. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Well, that's the funny thing, right? Because then people will be like, "Oh, strip clubs are just they're lathered up in drugs and
And then
human
there's the
trafficking."
ones.
And then I'm like, "Dude, they just found out not too long ago like there was human trafficking that was going on through a corporate company freaking office up in Alabama not too long ago." And it was like this whole company it was a startup company, and then it turned out like they had been running a prostitution ring through that company. It's like it just doesn't. You're talking about strip clubs. This was a respectable company that was running, and they were sitting there basically whoring out women. And it was like, and not only that, it was they were putting women in specific situations to where they felt like, there's that whole aspect that's there on that. But it was just it's going to happen anywhere that it's supposed to happen, anywhere that anyone wants it to happen. Drugs have been run through churches, but you don't see everybody saying we need to shut down churches because drugs have been run. There's drug rings. There's stuff like that has happened through church congregations. So, and to sit there and only specify it towards gentlemen's clubs or strip clubs or whatever it is that you want to call them. I mean, it happens everywhere. This is the United States, and this is the world that we live in, and it sucks, but I mean, it's everywhere around you. So quit trying to just designate it to one spot.
I definitely see more customers that come in asking girls where they can get stuff more than I see girls doing it. And these guys are maybe lawyers or realtors or, with prominent jobs.
Well, that's kind of like the culture. Like, even if you watch TV shows, I was just watching a TV show, that new Chris Pratt series, The Terminal List or whatever, and he's trying to get his hands on fentanyl. And he went straight in the show. He went straight to a strip club and started talking to a stripper. And it was like, that's where the bad rap comes from. Like, that's where you would go, because if somebody was actually looking for that, I don't think you would actually go to a strip club. You'd go somewhere else. But there are these negative aspects to like looking at the particular business that you're in, as far as that goes. But how much training have you actually done, like as far as the acrobatic stuff?
I've had none. It was all self-taught. When I first went in, I wanted to be a dancer. This is going to sound so privileged, but when I was in high school, we were 18 as seniors. We turned 18 early, right? 2 of my friends danced. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, right? My mom and dad were not having it. They were like, you're going to college. I went to college. I didn't start dancing until I was 24 and out of school. And
you got a degree? Or
I do, in marketing.
What? You have a marketing degree?
I do. And so,
Kendall, I think we're looking for a marketing manager, aren't we?
I feel like a lot of like in the state of Florida and Louisiana and others, Texas even, you have to be 21 now to be a dancer. You cannot be 18, right? So all these girls that want to get into it as soon as they turn 18, it's like, go to school and get something, because like my business classes, my accounting classes, my economic classes, my personal selling classes, communications, helped me so much in learning how to sell to people. Some personal selling to people and selling my personality and selling, my, I feel like
your body,
but also like some guys come in and want like, to vent about their cheating wife or so we're like therapists kind of to these men.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about that, but I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's okay. So growing up, I got into it. I didn't go into my first audition being nervous because I knew I wanted to be a dancer. A month after I finished school in 2013, June 13th, 2013, I became a dancer. And ever since then, at first I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what I'm doing. And even during COVID, when it got shut down and those months that we weren't, I was just thinking, wow, I really get up there and dance and do this. And it was just really, it's kind of eye-opening then, but it's so normal to me, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's definitely opened my eyes to a lot of other things, like potential of marriage with me, men, and like my eyes on a lot of stuff, right? But when it comes to training, you
Probably
just
opened your mind up to like all dudes are kind of scumbags.
yeah, the most of the ones that are the ones that are the worst ones have wedding rings on for sure, and that's not cool. That is not. And they're like, and then people will say, "Oh, well, of course, it's those guys that come into the clubs. They're low lives, and this and that." We see all walks of
Yeah.
life, all professions, all. So it's not. You're gonna tell me every lawyer, every doctor, every
Yeah.
is a low life because they come into the club.
Yeah,
Come
that was
on.
one of the things when we went, and I was sitting there and I like looked around the room because I do it everywhere I go, even when I
People
go to
watch.
restaurants and stuff. And I'm just kind of like,
Observing the
who do
scene.
I know in here? Because again, I grew up here,
Oh,
and I
okay.
could have counted like 3 dudes out that night. And I'm like, yeah, I went to church with him. He works
Oh,
downtown. Like I'm like, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, whoa, dude, these guys are coming in here. And then they're the same ones that will sit there and be like, I would never go in there. I would never do this, and I would never do that. Um, Getting back on that aspect you were just talking about, the like being a therapist. How many how many married guys do you get in there, and then you're basically just kind of like listening to them vent and talk and stuff like that?
more than half. Like a lot of guys will get dances with me just to talk. They're like, you don't have to dance, let's just talk. The most money I've ever made at a club was in 3 hours. It was at Hustler in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. And this man paid for 3 hours in a champagne room. He paid $1,700 per hour. We did 3 hours, and I didn't dance for him 1 second. We talked the entire time. We talked about everything. He thought I was so mature. You're so awesome. I just
And he
want
was
to.
like a married dude.
He
Wow.
told me we could not exchange numbers because he didn't want his wife to find out. But he was much older. He was like probably in his 60s or 70s.
Oh
He was
wow.
a lot older. But guys will just, they just want to talk to you. Maybe they just want to talk to me. Maybe they don't. I feel like when a lot of girls, they'll be like, they say also, oh, why are you still in it? You need to get in and get out when you're a dancer. But it's like I'm getting better as I age.
Yeah.
Like a lot of girls would just not have that conversation skill set like I can deliver because I am in my 30s and I do have like knowledge of the world and I can talk about things. Some girls cannot offer that, but a lot of girls can too because like they learn it as they go that it's
Mhm.
not just dancing. A lot of guys just want company and they want someone who's not going to judge them. Like maybe their wives aren't a fan of their hobbies in some sort, but a dancer is not going to judge you. You can go in and talk to her about anything as long as you're compensating her at the end of
Yeah,
it.
as long as you're paying.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's like, and I think we're cheaper than a therapist
Well, I was about to
too.
say, would you rather go talk to a therapist that's got horn rimmed glasses and, middle aged and
In an
freaking,
office that's
yeah, that doesn't really look
intimidating.
up at you at all and she just writes stuff down the entire time? Or would you rather go to the strip club and go talk to a girl that's in her 20s or 30s that's going to sit there and just be happy about everything you have to say?
Yes, and just accepting of what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think, so do you still have dreams of like getting married, having kids and stuff
I
like that?
never dreamed of getting married or having kids.
Oh, okay.
I have an older sister in her she's in her 50s. She never got married. She did not have her first kid until she was 40. So I grew up seeing her being so happy. She had a marketing degree. She sold sunglasses for Costa sunglasses.
Posted on more?
And she never left the party early. She never, meaning like she didn't get married and
Yeah.
So I just never was one. I get bored very easily. And that's why I also dance because you can bounce around and talk to so many people and whatnot. But I never thought like, I've been in like 6 2-year relationships and I broke it off with every single one of them. I got bored.
Yeah.
So, and then the kid aspect, not in this lifetime. I don't think it's for me. Maybe in my next life, and I don't think it's not because I don't think I'd be a good mom. I just don't want to love something that much and worry about them in this world and how it is.
I think
think
we're
it's
saying that a
so
lot. I
scary.
mean, we've seen birth decline throughout the nation and things like that because I think that is the aspect that a lot of people have, having to raise a child through the economic crisis that we've seen. And then also just like there's no stability anywhere. Like You don't know who
You
we're
have
going to be
no
at war
idea.
with tomorrow, and things like that. And so I think that a lot of people kind of stay away from having children right now. I know me and my wife, we're friends with several couples that are married, and they literally just said we're not looking at having kids because it was kind of like, do I
It's
want to bring them up in
scary.
what's going on right now? Plus, like the stability on jobs right now, especially even on the government side. I mean, you could lose your job tomorrow. I mean, it's
Especially with AI coming into play, it's taking all the
oh yeah,
jobs, you
it's taken a
know?
lot of jobs. My job will probably become obsolete here, within the next couple of years, just because AI has gotten so good about it. So we're having to adapt to a different society now, and I think people are like, having kids just really isn't in the cards for me. So, but no, I was just curious because I was like, so what? So do you plan on how long do you plan on doing it?
Well, I think I'm only dancing still because of this club. I think if I was working at another club, I think I'd already be done.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do it until the club closes, I guess. And at that time, you know, at least I'll have enough saved up to where I won't have to worry about a little bit working for a little bit. But I mean, I'm still gonna want to do stuff. I'm not just gonna sit there and be bored. I'm gonna find something else to do, obviously. But I mean,
yeah, because what you got another 2 years.
no, we have till 2029.
Okay, all right, you have
Yeah.
till 2029.
So, and there's so many, like, you never know what could be offered then or what's in the future for anybody. So, I'm just gonna see. I just think like if it wasn't, frowned upon by society, I might have. If my club would stay open for longer, I would do it till I was at least 45.
Yeah.
Because I think I have that in me, and I think like I have the looks, or I have the money to get the looks. If
Mhm.
I need to keep doing it because I do think I'm getting better as I age dancing. So I'm making more money than I have ever, even in this economy, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so the other side of that, um, so so you've been dancing here in Panama City, Florida, for how long?
6 years
So
about
6 years. So in 6 years, have you seen increase or a decrease in tourism?
fine to oh.
Like people that aren't from here, or
Yeah.
do you get more locals? I mean, I would have.
It depends on the season. So, like, from March, you have your spring break. April, you have bike week, Jeep week, and then summer. People come in summer, they leave around September. After Labor Day, that's when season stops. So, from September to February, that's when your locals come. And I feel like a lot of locals don't come during season because of all the traffic that's there. So we'll see a lot of tourism during those months, and then go to
Yeah.
locals.
Oh,
Um,
so,
but
but like right now, it's this year. Have you seen an increase or more of a decrease through spring break?
spring break was actually really good this year. 2022 and 2023 were not. I keep track of all my nights and how much I made. I have all my numbers. I don't know if you saw that TikTok that I did, but
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, because you were going over like again a lot of the stuff like I said, I'm not really into the strip club scene, but it was really interesting seeing a lot of your TikToks where I've sat there and been like, all right, there's this like you said earlier, it's like a lot of people like, oh, you just go in there and take your clothes off and dance and that's it. But
no,
like when you break it
crazy.
down and you start looking into like all of the aspects, like you could be very unsuccessful. I mean, it's the same thing as like car salesmen.
Yeah,
Like people all
for
the time are like,
sure.
oh, you just go out there and you show cars to people, and then they decide whether or not they want to. It's like, no, no, dude. There's way more to it than that.
Got to make that
It's
connection.
if you're
That's
going to be
the
successful at it, you have to learn all the different aspects of
different
how to
plays
say
you can.
things,
When to say
body
them.
language,
Yes, for sure.
tonality, and how you because you can say something the same way 7 times and they have all different meanings. And I'm
The
sure you see
emphasis
that
on certain words and stuff.
exactly.
Definitely that.
So, but no, getting back into that, I mean, if the tourism declines and you're not seeing as many tourism, I mean, is that a sign of anything or?
Yeah, I think there's a dancer that I follow on TikTok, and she got put in like a newspaper article or something that was like strip clubs are the indicator of if there's a recession or not going on
Yeah,
because they will see it firsthand. A lot of clubs out there are super slow these days. I've seen it like on TikTok. We can also talk about the Dancer app, where there's clubs where you can go and see the reviews on there. There's an app for us that you can see all the clubs everywhere, all over the U.S., which is super cool. And you see reviews on how like clubs are dead. They're just not going there anymore.
And you think some of that has to do with the OnlyFans thing?
Some
right?
of it,
some of these platforms,
but a lot of it too. Like people just don't have that extra income to spend. And I'm lucky to work in a tourist area where, people will come in and they don't get tired of seeing the same entertainer on stage because it's always different people that come in. I can't imagine working at a club where it's the same people and it's not a high tourist state. That's where I come in. I think I'm lucky for that,
Yeah. And then, so earlier you were talking about the stripper coin. Stripper coin? Is that, am I say that right? It's like Bitcoin?
Yes.
Explain it.
Okay. So in 2021, I was like, you know what? I heard about dancers dancing in the metaverse. Wouldn't that be so cool?
In the metaverse?
Like a second world, like online.
Well, no, yeah.
But so I was thinking maybe I could be a dancer in the metaverse, but I'd be really on my couch. I'll just be controlling this little like AI robot online and whatnot. So I went through a little bit of Google research and I found this man who's an IT tech in Michigan. Never met him, but he had this idea for this Bitcoin called stripper coin, where you would basically have a coin to like, just like any other coin you have, like Dogecoin or ADA, and whatnot. And so we got together, me, him, we didn't even meet yet, and then another girl. She's from Ghana, I think. So what we did was, you ever heard of an NFT? I'm not going to get too much into it because people are probably going to stop.
Yeah.
What we did was, her and I, separate, never met, right? I did a photo shoot with a green screen and everything. And we built it up we sold it on Twitter, right? A bunch of Twitter nerds that are into that, that know that, it was GIF formatted. So you know what a GIF is whenever you move in a certain.
Yeah.
So I had 215 different items.
I like how you're trying to explain this to me because I'm a caveman and I don't know how any of this works. You're right. Most of the time, he has to explain a lot of this stuff, but because of all the cover, I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. A picture that moves. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So I did a photo shoot in like pretty little dresses, right? And it was like for 7 seconds, cute little poses, right? And so in order to get it stripped down to the lingerie, which I did the photo shoot for that too, you have to buy it in stripper coin. You can look at it online. I don't want to talk too much because I don't want people to go find me because it's already sold. Like my NFT collection sold out in 35 minutes.
What?
I made like a good amount of money. My money's still in my wallet,
Better take it out.
I know
Scared.
the coin goes up and down for sure. Like it went up a couple, like I think so. In order to buy the first part of the NFT with the all dressed, it was an ADA coin, and ADA's like anywhere from like 60 cents now, but it went up to $2. So I have in my wallet, I have 12,000 ADA. So times that, I did really well. So a couple months ago, it went up to like $1.20. So I had like a little bit, more now. It's like 60 cents or whatnot. It was just so crazy. I'm glad I got onto that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
good.
So
Wow,
that was
that's
really
insane.
fun. But my main goal for that was to potentially dance in the metaverse and do that, which is super difficult. You have to be basically in coding for that. But we went to 2 different like conventions. We went to one in Las Vegas and one in Miami for it. But they're still doing it. I just kind of made my little bit and I got out. But other girls are into it now, which is fun. But
so you plan on staying here doing what you do?
Yeah.
Until 2029 and then
maybe going back to New Orleans
Yeah?
if I still want to dance. But I definitely.
So where all have you danced?
Oh, okay. I started in Broussard, Louisiana, which is kind of like Lafayette, Louisiana. I did Lake Charles, Beaumont, Texas, Austin, Texas, Orange County, California.
You have traveled, girl.
I have, yeah. Chicago, Myrtle Beach.
And these are places that you like lived while you were there?
Oh
doing it?
no, just went and did like a couple like weeks or Like in Myrtle Beach, I lived there for a year.
So how does that work? Do you does a club reach out to you, or do you reach out to a
No,
club?
there's an
or-
app called the Dancers Resource app, and you can go look up clubs.
So it's like a traveling nurse program.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Oh wow, I'm not laughing at it. It's just
Oh
like
no, you've never heard of it before.
That's insane. Yeah, so it's like a traveling nurse thing where it's like, yeah, you're needed here, and then you go there and you dance for a certain
You can
amount
check
of
it
time.
out. You know, sometimes I'll go travel just to like,
So where's the worst place?
oh my God, probably. I did not care
Say
for
Illinois?
Chicago.
I know, I was
Yes,
just about to say
you
Illinois,
said it.
Chicago. Yeah, it's got to be there.
Those girls were ruthless. I remember standing up with a customer at a bar, talking to this man, and this girl comes in the middle of us and says, "You know, you'd rather be with me instead."
Whoa.
Not good stripper etiquette. Like, what are you doing?
So does that happen? Well, I mean, is that
I've never seen
like
that
girls
before.
get competitive like that for?
Yeah,
because you're competing over money.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like we're all there for the same thing. Like, why can't you just? We had a mean girl come to our club the other day.
Go
and
get your own
did
chicken.
Literally, she went up to a guy and was like, "You know, you'd rather be with me. I have a fatter ass than that girl." And it's like, that's not why
Whoa.
people are with somebody. You probably can't even hold a conversation because you think that's all they care for.
Yeah.
Which is not the case. But Chicago wasn't fun because at that club, I danced with over 120 girls in one night.
Oh.
At my club, the most girls I had was like 40. So it's like, when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna do the 3 big clubs, the 3 big cities before I quit.
No, you're good.
Oh,
You keep talking.
I was gonna do Las Vegas, Houston, and Atlanta. And now doing my research for all those cities, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm not gonna do any of them just because they're kind of wild.
Yeah.
Miami wasn't fun for me either. You have to be a strong soldier to dance in Miami.
Miami?
These girls, a lot of girls do like full service things, and
What do you mean?
they offer more than just dancing in the club, and some clubs allow it. Our club,
Really?
my club does not. Like, yes.
Can you be specific? 'Cause
Yes. So not Miami, but my friend lives in Dallas now, right? She just came back to our club telling me, she said the first night that she went to work, she had a girl invite her into a VIP room with 2 guys. She said the first thing that girl did, I don't know if I can say it.
You can say whatever you want.
She dropped his hands and started.
Really?
Yes. And she was like, I am not that type of dancer. And she got out of there so quickly. And she said that was like.
Is that norm? Is it normal?
That was in Texas, in Dallas, Texas. In Miami, when I went, I danced for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I danced at this club. I did one dance with this guy, and he was so touchy-feely with me. And the
Yeah.
bouncer was just looking, and he didn't even care. And then I saw a girl basically getting.
So can you look over at him and be like, "Hey, man, like, this is too-"
Yes. And he was just like, "Mm." And this guy was, it was so terrible.
Yeah.
And I just got out. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs are full nude. I don't dance at a full nude club. It's
Yeah.
just topless, optional too. Like, you don't even have to get that way.
Yeah.
But, and some clubs are just not.
They're not the same.
Right.
But that's kind of crazy. So there's no legal aspect to that though, like what you're talking about, like in Dallas. Like if law enforcement found out that sexual, like people,
favors. Yeah.
well, I guess it wouldn't even be. I mean, that's prostitution at that point
Yes.
because you're paying for that. Like, isn't that illegal?
You would think, and you would hope that like you would not see that, but I personally have never seen anything crazy go down like that, but I've heard so many stories, and there's so many.
I've heard stories. You know, like there's a guy that I used to work with, and he talked about, actually it was Louisiana, or it was New Orleans, and he told me a story about how he went into a strip club and how he ended up having sex with the stripper in a VIP room through like a couple of songs or whatever, and then he ended up paying for those songs or whatever, but he had like full blown sex with her.
You know
And I
what's
was like,
crazy?
Whoa,
When
what?
how many years ago was that, you think?
This conversation that I had was when I was selling cars, so that would have been close to 2015. So I mean, it was back there.
New Orleans has gotten so strict these days because they want
Really?
the strip clubs out. So the guys have to like basically sit on their hands in dances. And
Really?
in that room that I told you that I did really well on, I couldn't even get topless. That was like like I couldn't straddle the man. Well, he didn't want that anyway, but they're so strict now in New
Really?
Orleans. But I mean, possibly back then they weren't as bad.
Yeah.
That was back in 2019 that I worked there too, and they were so strict.
But you were talking about Miami. I mean, Miami is huge. Like, I would imagine they have a lot of clubs down there.
Yeah, I follow one girl on TikTok, and she's a millionaire from dancing. She is
Really?
She showed her taxes. She brought in $700,000 dancing in Miami. Yeah, she does kind of like outside the club dates and all these things, but Miami has a lot of money, but also a lot of things that I would not want to be a part of.
Have you ever felt unsafe, though, while you've been doing this at any point in time?
Only at like a club like in Texas, in Austin, Texas, a club called Ecstasy.
Mhm.
It was not that fun. A lot of girls were really mean. My friend got her money stolen by a girl. They just really didn't care for you that well. But at my club, if we walk out the door without a bouncer, we can get fired.
Really?
Like we have to have the bouncer walk out with us at all times. Like even if we forgot something, like we're really safe at our club.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to leave. I don't want it to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I think maybe by then there'll be another place to go by 2029.
Yeah, maybe.
Because, again, that ordinance is only for basically in the city limits. They're saying that it has to do with the tourism corridor, which I found out that the tourism corridor is pretty much painted throughout the entire city. Basically anything that's on like 98, 231, all through there. So it's like, oh, you can't really. That's the reason why the owner of Bambi's Dollhouse is actively suing the city of Panama City because of that ordinance. But I think also it's because he owns a property that's on the Beach Drive thing right now. So, but regardless, again, I don't think that I think it's government overreach to come in and try to get rid of something that is legal. And you are also making a pretty decent living there, and it's from talking to you, it's not something that you're like, well, I do this because I have to, and I'm a single mom, or I'm trying to get myself through college, and because I got a couple buddies of mine that have put enough girls through college now. But you're saying that you do it because you like it. I mean, someone with a marketing degree, you can make decent money with that degree. I don't think you're going to be making as much as what you're making now with a marketing degree, especially not in this area. So, I mean, I understand the aspect of where you're coming from on the money side of it, but then it's also something that you like to do. So,
Yeah,
if it's something that you like to do, that's on you. That's you. People don't need to try to control how you look at things.
I know. Because let me not go into what they are doing, But I think one of the hardest parts for me doing it is waiting until the night to turn myself on to become the dancer and turn, 'cause
Yeah. So, is there like an aspect of that where you're like, I have to like get into character, and
kind
then you're
of,
not the same person?
whenever I go in, I used to like even dancing for so many years, I used to have like a beating heart every time I go to work 'cause I'm just so anxious. But as soon as I go in and I put those heels on, it's on. Like I'm ready to go. But it's just like, damn, do I really want to go in tonight? What if it's not good? You have all these questions in your head on if you want to go in or not. And you have to, it's up to you if you go. My friend tells me all the time, she's like, you're so disciplined. You're always going to work and you don't even have to. And you're just like, and it's like, because it's kind of like an adrenaline rush to like compete with, yourself and just it's different every day. That's just the hardest part, being able to have to wait until the nighttime, especially if you have children. I can't imagine, waking up and putting them on the school bus and having them go to school and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's late night hours.
So, have you dated while you've been doing it?
I have, yeah.
How hard is a relationship to have when you're
It's
doing that?
Well, I only had 2 relationships dancing in my whole time. One was with a woman, and then one was with a guy, obviously. But the woman, she would tell me, it was different, dating a woman. She would say things like, I don't even think you're a real lesbian. I think if it wasn't for your job, you wouldn't date me because you get your attention at the club. And it's like, girl, I want to be with you. That was back in 2015, right? But I just got out of a 3-year relationship with a guy. He would tell me things like, go shake your ass or go do this, But he was a type to think that I had so much fun in the conversation aspect. He'd be like, I bet you have so much fun talking to these guys and this, and it's like, no, not really. It's a bunch of BS that I'm spitting back at them, and I'm just good at talking and communicating with people.
Yeah.
But some of these, like, yeah, some people are really fun, and you have a lot of fun. But at the end of the night, I'm so happy I'm going home, and that I'm just not having to be at the club anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like a lot of girls do have it hard.
So that's pretty interesting that it doesn't really. I mean, I guess it has to do with the type of person that you're going to be with, but like,
Yeah, and I mean, you dance a lot too. I dance a lot, and I'm really good at navigating drunk hands that try to touch. I'm really good at like being able to maneuver.
man, that's
hands.
another aspect. Yeah, guys get belligerent when they get drunk.
Yeah, I just,
And you're saying that really hasn't been a factor?
Yes, but I can slap them in the face and get away with it. I can put their hands up and be like, "You didn't even ask to touch me." It's just because it's a strip club, you still have to ask for consent. I'd rather the most non-cute guy that asked me for consent to touch me, I'd be like, okay, you can. Than the hottest guy to just go for it, because that's so disrespectful.
So
no
you
matter
judge,
where you're at.
you judge the dudes that come in.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it is more fun when they're more attractive and my type, for sure. But sometimes I'm really nervous to talk to those guys, and I try to stay away from them because I'm literally going to stay and talk with you and not even care about the money sometimes.
Did you hear that, Kendall? You just got to ask for consent. You can.
And all the girls are different. Some girls don't like to be touched at all. Sometimes I don't mind a little bit, but never grab, never like that.
Yeah. I can kind of see, but yeah, the more and more I talk about the aspects of like actually in that particular field that you're in, it's kind of like, dude, like, yeah, you got to deal with guys that come in there and they just get hammered, and then they come up and they're like, "Here, I got $50. Come over here." And it's like, I just feel like that's and like, it's from the outside looking in. I'm a I've got a daughter myself, and so it's one of those things where I'm like, dude, it sounds like it's just it's a bad scenario waiting to happen, but you've been doing it for 13 years and you haven't really had any type of like huge. I mean, I'm sure you got stories. What's the craziest story that you have?
Probably, oh man.
And it can be drawn out. I mean,
okay.
Tell me, like, just.
I just think one time a guy asked me if I wanted a back massage, and then I said yes, and he pulled out a whole vibrator.
Yeah, there you go.
He pulled out a whole vibrator when he asked to give me a massage, and I was like, "You're crazy. That's so crazy." And
Like, where was he hiding this thing?
in his coat pocket.
He just pulled it
out and was like, "Here, let me massage your back." Wasn't even in a box or nothing. That was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But I feel like
he just pulls it out of his pocket. Was he trying to give you a back massage with
it,
a vibrator, or was he trying to say something else?
No, I think he meant a literal back massage with it. I'm like, that probably won't even. You should have had a Theragun.
That's insane.
Like one of the guns that.
Oh my god! Well, that wouldn't have been better, because then it would be like, "Hey, I want to give you a massage," and it's like, that's kind of weird. Like, you're going to
yes.
Be like, "I want to give you a massage, baby, with this dildo."
Yes, so weird. But it's guys too that will like think that, oh, if I offered her enough money, she'll go home with me and this and that. And it's like,
does that happen?
Yes. There was a guy the other night, he told his wife, or told the wife's girlfriend, I could buy that girl for this amount of money. And it's like, no, you couldn't. Like, I wouldn't even go home with you for X amount. I wouldn't even go do anything with you for 10,000, whatever the case may be. You're crazy.
If you would have thrown $1 million at you, you wouldn't have done it.
No.
Okay.
Because guys will, I mean, if he was hot, No, I'm just kidding. But I would do it for free at that point, I mean, I'm older now, maybe back then I was more boy crazy. But now it's like, if a hot guy comes in, I don't even blink twice really these days. But guys will really think that we're able to be bought. And that is so crazy to me. Guys will be like, what girl can I take home? Or what? They'll ask me, well, if you don't do it, what girls are, and I'm like, one, I don't know what these girls got going on. I don't know who will do it and what.
Yeah, do you get to know the women that you work with pretty well? Or?
I know all the girls that I work with, but I don't hang out with them. I know like some of their situations because we have an entertainers page on Facebook where we're all in a group and you can see who posts about their lives and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I don't know if she's willing to go to an after party or, I'll do like private parties sometimes if they are, there's a website where you can go and get dancers in Panama City. They do background checks on the people that are,
Really? Well, that's cool.
it's called hardbodies.com. You can go get dancers, right? I did one party for them and it was the most fun party. It was like
Really?
13, like it was a bachelor party, 13 guys in a pool. They were throwing all the money in the pool. The money was soaking wet.
So you had to come home and dry it all out.
Yes, and they literally asked if we wanted to dry the money there and come get it in the morning. That was so funny.
Nope, taking it home tonight, dude. I got a Walmart bag, and I'm just throwing it in there.
I'll dry it at home. I have a blow dryer.
Yeah, exactly.
But if a guy asks me to like go to a private party after work, I'm like, I can't. I am so tired. Or the next day, I'll be like, I'd rather just go to the club. To be honest, it depends on the people.
How much? Yeah, because I know you can't give me an exact, but maybe just like a roundabout. How much would you make on like a private party normally?
That private party I did with those two people, it was it was two dancers with like 13 guys. We each made $1,300 for 3 hours. So that was nice. And we just hung out in the pool and played beer pong. And what else would we do? We had some kind of like table game, like cards or something. That's what it was. And we just hung out and like there was like a little area where we would do private dances and whatnot. But everyone was really nice except for the bachelor who tried to do more than just dance.
Yeah.
But they were really nice. There's different eras. I call it all eras or trends that I've seen, seasons that come and go. Girls that wear like the Victoria's Secret glitter outfits or, oh my gosh, during COVID, we wore masks that like, matched our outfits. That was cool. But like trends, I'm not really sure. Every girl's different. I feel like I've definitely upgraded my look over the years because golly, I'm just like, look at old photos of me and I'm like, why did I wear that? How did I make money with that outfit on?
Yeah.
But trends, I'm not really sure. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
You got an example, man? Yeah. Or like cosplay.
Yeah, like schoolgirl outfits or like any kind of like
Nurse, police officer.
Yeah, I'm not one to wear costumes in the club.
That's the reason why
unless it's
when you do
Halloween.
private parties, I've always seen this in movies, and I've always thought it would be cool to do, like where Kendall, if you ever get married and we have a bachelor party, I'd probably do it. Like I'd be like, hey, I need you to wear a police outfit.
Yeah,
I need you to arrest
something.
him or whatever. I've always thought it was funny. I mean, it's all. I don't know. It's all games. I don't put much into it. I really don't put much. If you would have talked to me 10 years ago, before I had like left town and actually went out and experienced the world, I would have been like, if somebody would have tried to have this conversation with me, it would have never taken place because it would have been like, I don't want to talk to a stripper or a dancer. I don't want to hear about
She's probably
how it
dumb
works.
as hell.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And it was because of this, and it's really, really, it's really, really frustrating. And I mean, we see this in many communities throughout the country, and through the world probably. But it's like we judge people based on how they live their life. And it's like if people aren't living the life that you think that they should live, then just accept the fact that it's not your life. But you
Yeah, you
don't
don't have to do
control
it.
other people's lives and how they do it. If you're having fun doing it, and then other people are enjoying partaking in whatever it is, that's their thing.
How is it
Shut
harming
the fuck
you?
up. And so it's like one of those, like now I just look at, I'm still not like a fan.
Wanting to go
Yeah, I'm
all.
still not that type of person. But at the same time, I'm able to look at it now and just be like, hey man, you do you. Like I enjoy going to the shooting range and shooting for hours on end. I enjoy going, rucking, running, and things like that. And there's other people that are like, that's crazy, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Well, it's the same thing that somebody does. Like I'm going to the strip club with my buddies and we're going to go hang out. It's something that they're into. It's something that they do. But for some reason, we've demonized people for having different ideas than what we do. And so for that, I understand, again, the Bible Belt and down here, we're basically lower Alabama. And I think it is, I don't know, just let people be who they want to be, even if you don't agree.
I don't know if it's not hurting anybody. I mean, I'm a
Which
judge.
do you think that strip clubs hurt the community or gentleman club actually hurt the community?
I think it's just a bunch. I mean, I'm gonna say I'm not. I just think it's when they say it's an eyesore for the city passing by it. I think that it's out of sight, out of mind, kind of until you run past a strip club, and then let's say you're driving past it, and they're like, "Oh, that's a strip club," you know. But on an everyday basis, are you really thinking about it when you're at work, or like probably not. If it was maybe if the man wants to go to one, but maybe it's the women that are just like so against it. And of course, their husbands are going to agree. I would never step foot. And those men are probably the ones that are hiding their phone
Well,
at the.
Hooters did a documentary, or no, was it Hooters? No, it was Undercover Boss. I thought it was extremely funny. I watched this Undercover Boss episode where they were like basically demonizing Hooters in one of the scenes because the guy that owns one of the owners of the company goes undercover and he acts like he's coming in as like a management, and he goes out and the Hooters girls are out on like the street side and they've got these signs and they're waving them, come in, today or whatever, because Hooters actually did a lot for the community as far as outreach programs and then also donating and things like that. I mean, they did a lot of things like that. So it wasn't, I mean, I get it. When Hooters first came around, it was like, ooh, short shorts,
Yeah, it wasn't
low
lewd
crop
or
tops,
something.
whatever. But in this episode of Undercover Boss, one of the girls said something that I just thought was extremely funny. And I've thought about this for years. There was this woman that was just cussing out this girl that was in a Hooters outfit. And she was like, you're a disgrace to the community and we don't need restaurants like you and blah, blah, blah. And this girl just sat there like the entire time. And when she was walking away, that dude looked over and he's like, it's crazy because I didn't think that communities really looked at my restaurant being like this. And she made a comment and it was great. She goes, it's okay. Her husband's going to come in and visit anyway.
Yes, if we don't have your business, we're gonna have other people's business. Exactly.
Like, it's just like your husband's still gonna show up
Yeah,
and get wings there, and he's still gonna enjoy the company of a girl that's half naked that's coming and bringing him wings and just talking nice to him. Maybe you should try to be that way too, so then he won't come into our. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, that is 100% true because, I've only been like just for that, like Hooters, I've been twice now. Because it was just like one of those things where it was talked and frowned upon when I was a kid growing up. And then and the first time I ever went, I was actually with my wife because she's the one that brought it. And, we can go in there, and I'm like, oh no, like, and oh my God, it's really weird because I'm like looking down like the entire time at the table. And a girl comes up and she's like, hey, what can I get you? And I'm like, do you need a refill on that Diet Coke? There you go. Like I'm not looking because it's like, and I think that knowing the personality of my wife, she's like one of those people where she thought that was probably funnier than anything, where it was like, I'm just going to look down at the table like the entire time.
I brought my ex to the club because I want to go. That's how he was. He looked down the whole time.
Yeah. It's like, 'cause you don't want to get caught staring or whatever. And listen, you're a human being like everybody else. If you're a dude and you're like, I didn't look, you're gay.
Yeah.
Like,
or you're scared and you're
that doesn't mean that and one of the best things in looking at it from a Christian standpoint or a biblical standpoint or whatever your religion may be. One of my really good friends, very, very strong in his faith. He's actually in med school right now, but he told me something a couple years back, and he said, I look at women like I look at a sunset. Like where it's like you can appreciate the sunset and the beauty that God has made, but that doesn't mean that you have to try to capture it. And I think that's a really, really good way of looking at it. However, when you go to a strip club, you're trying to see the sunset a lot.
Yeah, you're trying to do a little bit of capturing.
You're not just going out and like, oh look, beautiful sunset. You're like, hey dude, where's the next sunset?
Yes, you want a variety of sunsets.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I look at it. What has police presence been like when you've been working?
A lot.
Really?
They've been there. They were there last night. They'll come in. They'll go.
You give them a dance.
If they would ask me, maybe I would charge them extra for sure. I would tax them. But they definitely stay around the parking lot. There's a bunch of undercovers.
Do you think they stay around waiting on people to leave that are drunk?
There was a couple last night who
Really?
did not leave. They were about to walk out, and they saw that cop walk in, and these people were stumbling. They walked right back in the club because they were like, "We're not going out." And as soon as they were walking out, before I saw that police officer, I was like, "I cannot believe they're about to drive home right now," because they had keys in. One of them had keys in their hand, and they stayed in. But they will wait for sure.
Yeah.
Just so good. I mean,
well, it's almost kind of like entrapment, I guess, in a way.
I know.
If you're waiting, but then again, at the same time, it's like, I don't know. That's a double-edged sword. But I think no, that was what I was kind of curious on. Like, have you ever seen drug busts go down or anything like that in a club?
Not really that. Just the girl that got fired.
Yeah.
That,
I was expecting more for 13 years because I grew up where it was like, oh, it's successful. There's nothing but drugs and prostitution.
And movies
and then
make
I'm
it
like,
so
yeah. So
it's
13
not like
years.
in the movies.
If you put in 13 years there, you'd have seen something.
Yes, and I'm not lying. Like P Valley, the stripper show that they have, makes it. Maybe it's clubs that are other places, but I have never been there. Maybe it's the clubs that I work at. Or maybe I just don't do it, so I'm not part of it. I don't know who's doing it. When customers ask me who has it, they might have someone that has it, but I don't know. I have no idea. And they're like, "Oh, I'll pay you extra." I'm like, even so, one, I don't know if you're an undercover.
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk my livelihood for $50 or $100 to get you what you want, no matter who you are. And it's just like, I wouldn't even know who to ask at that, but God, I wish I had some more interesting stories for you on that part, but I just don't see it, and the human trafficking, I don't see it, but I know there's some girls at other clubs that probably have guys that tell them to go in and make money, but I just feel like those girls that do that maybe aren't the smartest, because why would you need a guy tell you how to do that kind of job,
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. I think we talked about everything.
I know. I hate that. Like, I'm gonna go home and be like, "Damn, we should have talked about this or that."
Well,
but
do you know of anything else?
No,
we
I
could
don't.
talk. We could talk about whatever. That's the reason why I was like, "Yo, tell me your craziest story. What's the?"
No, after COVID, they stopped. A lot of clubs, they don't pay their dancers. The club, you have to pay the club to work there.
Yeah.
But before COVID, for 2 years, they actually paid us a check. They paid us minimum wage
Really?
to dance. I thought that was really cool. But since COVID hit, they took that away.
Yeah, because it hurt the entire economy. I'm sure during COVID, you probably saw a huge drop off because.
Man,
Okay, hold on. How the hell did that work during COVID? We weren't allowed. Well, I mean, I know we're in the free state of Florida, so we didn't shut down like everybody else. But I will say, like, how in the hell did that work? Because people didn't want you walking into a store without a fuck mask on, and then now you're gonna go in there, you're gonna get
close and social
proximity of somebody.
You're not gonna believe this. We shut down March 17th and opened June 4th. Right? Everything was normal. We had to.
You were shut down for that long.
March 17th to June 4th.
Wow.
Nothing.
That was a 2021?
2020.
2020. Okay.
And then when we opened back up, they took a lot of the tables out. So only a certain amount. So the tables that they have in there, let's say
they still were trying to
social distance.
So wait, were you just doing dances up on the stage?
No, we were doing dances in the back, but we all had to wear masks.
No, that's not everybody, but yeah, there was quite a few. But so you had to dance up on the stage,
and we could dance in the back, but everyone had to wear a mask. Everyone.
Yeah.
But then in July of that same year, they made a rule. I don't know what they thought about this, how they thought about this, but you could sell alcohol, but you had to drink it outside. So for like 3 months or something like that, you could sell alcohol, but you had to drink it outside, and you could not drink it inside.
What's the significance between drinking outside and inside? Because you had to take your mask off to drink it?
Possibly. I liked it then because you couldn't smoke cigarettes inside at that time. Because,
do you even so you're not a cigarette smoker?
No.
And so you don't like being around it? How does that? These are the types of things. Like, how do you work in an area? Because, when we went in there, I left like the next morning. I woke up.
You could smell it, right? If you didn't
I
take a
went to the
shower.
bathroom and I'm like, God, dude, I smell like cigarettes. And then I like took a shower. And I mean, I smoke from time to time. You know, I have a past, so like I enjoy cigarettes. I enjoy cigarettes. So, but like, yeah, but I also don't like smelling like cigarettes, and I also don't like
Yes.
smelling cigarettes in general. But yeah, I got in the shower and I'm like trying to scrub all this off, and then I get out and I'm like, I still smell it. It's because my clothes smelled like
Yeah.
it the next day, and they smelled worse than I did. And then it was like, dang, dude. And then, yeah, how do you
You know,
work in an
whenever
environment like that?
when I think it's like it's in a kind of a big building. I guess you would call that big. I'm not sure. But if I'm talking to a guy and he lights one up, I'll make an excuse to leave. I'll be like, I'll be right back. I'll try not to be around cigarettes as much as possible because it's just the smell is just horrible, especially
Yeah.
for a non-smoker.
Yeah.
So I'll just walk away, and then like if you're on the other side of the club and people are smoking, you really don't even smell it. Some guys, quite a few guys, will actually go outside to smoke because they don't want to smoke inside.
Yeah.
I think that's cool, but you just kind of just distance yourself for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
But it was nice whenever had COVID. They couldn't smoke because they made the rule about drinking the alcohol outside. They brought food in, so they made hot dogs or something, so you couldn't smoke. Or I don't know. But as soon as you could drink again inside, they quit selling and then could smoke again.
Insane. Well, to our listeners, they can go and follow your TikTok, and then I'm sure you have an Instagram and all of that as well. So, and it's Casey Cats.
Yeah, like a
K,
cat,
right?
No, all C's, and it's like Casey Casey, and like a cast on your arm, Casey Cast.
Cast, not cast. Yeah. I watched.
Huh? Nope.
Yeah.
And then
Cool.
my Instagram is Casey with 2 Y's, and then Castille, my last name.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks
for
for
talking
having
about
me.
the business aspect of it, and then also like all the ins and outs of what it's like to be in a relationship while you're doing it, what it's like to travel around and do this in different places, and then also the aspect of it's probably not as evil as people say that it is. I think that's like important right now as far as the truth getting out to the community on things like this, because I honestly do believe that there's a lot of things that are demonized that aren't as bad as what people make out to be, just
Especially
because
with
it doesn't
movies and stuff that give you the
exactly. And a lot of people base it based on their understanding of how they look at things, but the world is pretty damn different. There's a lot of people that don't look at things the same exact way, and
And-
we have to respect those people just like everyone else.
definitely. And I think maybe it's just maybe I have a good privilege of working where I work, and maybe I just don't see the other dancers might have a different. I see other podcasts with dancers go
Yeah.
on, and I'm like taken aback by stuff they say and deal with, and I'm like, damn, that's not me and what I go through. It's just.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the things because last night I was like, what am I going to ask tomorrow? And so, like, I start looking up interviews that other people have done with like dancers and stuff like that. And then some of these guys are just freaking nerds. Like, they get on there and the only thing they want to do is talk about like the sexual aspect of
Yeah,
it.
you ever took a dollar bill up, or
Yeah, have you ever sucked a guy's dick for money? And it's like I just I didn't want to get into that type of stuff. It was more like what is it like being in your shoes? Because like that's really at the end of the day, that's what really matters. I could care less about how much money that the strip club makes, and I could care less about people that are going up there because they're going through. But the person that's actually working there, and they've made this a career decision, or what is it like to actually go through a day in the shoes of somebody that? Because I'm sure diet comes along with it. You have to
yes, and the
stay-
work, the
and
stamina.
the workout. You gotta have all of that. Like it's not just I'm gonna go up there and take my clothes off and dance on a pole. Like there's a lot of discipline that goes along with that. You have to stay in shape. You have to stay mentally on
Up
top of
all
things
night
too,
and
then-
deal with so many different personalities.
Yep.
And at our club, we do 10-minute stage sets. We do 3 songs, and they play the whole song. It's a bunch of like mental capacity that you have to have a strong mindset to be in that, especially if you have a bad. a bad interaction with one customer, you can't bring that to the next person that you have that interaction with, because it has to be like they're brand new. And it's a bunch of mirroring people's personalities as well.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
fun
appreciate
though.
you coming on, and it was
Thank you
great.
so
I had
much.
fun.
I had so much fun.